But then sometimes you want to pick up and keep working on it and you're like, nothing's coming out. I just can't. It's probably because I'm in a completely different mood today. Maybe later on I'll feel sad enough to keep writing it or something like that. You know what I mean?
Hello, sound seekers. Welcome to another thrilling episode of Sound for Thought, a podcast about why people make music. A podcast you might just be hearing for the first time, and if you are, I'm really excited and grateful to have you listening today. Whether you're new to the show or one of our regular listeners, I hope you're ready to discover some new music, be inspired, and get to know our awesome guest. Today, I'm very excited to share a conversation with you that I had with Eliza from Eliza and The Delusionals. They are a really cool indie rock band from Australia with similar vibes to artists like Soccer Mommy and Snail Mail, if you're fans of those bands, with a touch of 90s and early 2000s pop punk vibes. As you will hear in the interview, a few of Eliza's big influences early on were Avril Lavigne, Paramore, and the Veronicas, just to name a few. We talk about a whole bunch of super awesome topics like the very long reward process that is making music as opposed to other careers, a Coldplay concert experience that united her with her bandmate Kurt, how being in a band is sort of the best thing ever and the most taxing thing ever. We talk about how she's evolved as a person since starting the band, and what she's learned from all the different relationships that come and go when you're navigating the music industry, and so much more. It was a great conversation. I'm really thankful for Eliza coming on the show, and I'm excited for you all to hear it. Before we jump into the interview, we'll listen to the band's newest single. It's called You, and it's fantastic. Check it out and follow the band, Eliza and the Delusionals, on Spotify, Instagram, all the other social media platforms. Keep up with this podcast, Sound for Thought, by following us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you're listening to this right now. Fun fact, June 1st this year marks the 5th anniversary of Redefining Records. Very exciting. So I, Andrew, will be doing an Instagram live stream that evening. It's next week, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Pacific time with John Pagliasotti, who is the host of our sister podcast, Bands, Beers, and Buzzwords. On the live stream, we'll be doing a music-related Q&A, a bunch of fun, random questions, and we'll also be doing a merch giveaway. So, if you're listening to this episode when it comes out, or before June 1st, go check out the latest Instagram post on our channel at Redefining Records to get details on how you can enter the giveaway to win some merch. Alright, that's all I got for the intro. Stay safe, be kind, and keep making cool shit, people. Enjoy the show. This is Eliza and the Delusionals on Sound for Thought.
I didn't like you when you first told me your name. I didn't want to when you started to play that game. We could be alright if you just let me walk away. Cause I didn't want to. Cause I didn't want you. Easy when you're letting me down, but then you need me. I feel so watching you falling apart. I've been this far and once you get
Okay, cool. Well, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. I'm just, like I said, Kurt's sick, but I'm not sick, so I guess that's one good thing.
That is good.
But yeah, I'm pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. I did taxes today. It's tax day in the US today, so
Sounds
that
fun.
was, you could say it was fun. That's something you could say. But overall, doing good too. Happy to be talking to you. I'm excited to talk to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, love the new single
Thank you.
and excited to kind of dig into your music. I always like to kind of start by going back to your childhood, getting deep. I like to know kind of how people got started with music as like a child. Were your parents musicians, or like at what age did you start playing music?
Yeah, well, my parents don't really play. My dad collects guitars, but I think that's because I learned to play guitar. But
Ah,
yeah, he like
that's cool.
yeah, it's cool because like I get to play all the nice guitars he collects. But yeah, like my parents have always like loved music. And I was like super interested in singing when I was younger. I feel like every girl in like primary school, preschool is like, I can sing and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just like was super interested in that. And I used to love like Avril Lavigne. I don't know if you would know like the Veronicas. They're like an Australian like sister pop duo. Yeah, they're like so iconic in Australia.
I feel so untouched and I want you so much that I just can't resist you. It's not enough to say that I miss you.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like such good like pop alternative sort of music. And yeah, I used to love that. And then I was going on school camp and mom was like, "Oh, I've made this like MP3 with like an album on it." And it was like a Coldplay album, and that was the only album that was on there. And like when I was like 11, I was like, "What the hell? Like I don't even like Coldplay, blah blah blah." I didn't even know any of their songs really.
Yeah, yeah.
But I literally like fell in love with the band, and like that band really was the start for me. And coincidentally, Kurt had this like a very similar experience with Coldplay. It was both of our first concerts.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and like I remember just going and seeing them at like the entertainment center in Brisbane. It was like the Viva La Vida tour, so it would have been like 2008. And I was like right up the back. My mom was with me, and like we had brought like binoculars to see everything.
I used to rule the world. Seas would rise when I gave the word. Now in the
I just remember watching him being like, that's what I want to do. Like I definitely want to do that. And so like I started to like make my mom take me to like vocal lessons, and then I joined the school band. And my friend was like, "Oh, like let's play the bass in the school band," and I thought the bass was like meant like double bass, like big giant thing. And then
Classical.
yeah, because I mean I was in like grade 6, like I had no idea. And then my mum got me like an electric bass for my birthday, and I was like, what? Why does this guitar only have 4 strings? Like I don't understand. And mum's like, it's a bass. Like you want to play bass, right? And I was like, oh. So I had no idea what I was doing. But
That's fine.
yeah, but I like, I learnt like all of the Coldplay songs, like of course Seven Nation Army, like all of that, like all the iconic like bass lines.
Yes.
And then I sort of fell into writing songs and realized that was like my love in music was songwriting. And I sort of taught myself how to play guitar and that sort of thing. And so I could write songs. And yeah, that was like, I guess in short, that's like the journey for me.
Yeah, the origin story.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool that you started with bass, because like for so many people, including myself, like bass is like transition from guitar. When you join a band and you're the worst guitar player in the band, you become the bass player.
Yeah.
But it's cool that you went straight for it.
Yeah, well, I don't know what it was about it. Like my friend was like, yeah, I'll just play the bass. And she just didn't even end up being in the band. She she just never followed through with it. And I was like, well, I'm here now. And like the music teacher was like, he was an asshole. He was just so horrible. Like he used to make kids cry, and like it was
shit.
Yeah, he was really bad. So I'm surprised that sort of didn't turn me off it, because both of my sisters were doing like clarinet, and they just were like, after dealing with him for like 2 years, they were just like, nope, never touching it again. And so I think it was because like I watched bands like Coldplay, and then I started falling in love with like Radiohead and a lot of like bands from the early 2000s and 90s, and like sort of going on that journey, discovering all of the classics and stuff like that. And that sort of thing. And I think I was just too invested, and like the thought of being able to do that for a career was like, oh my God, like, you know what I mean? And like my whole life, people have been like really supportive, but it's always been like, oh, like just, it's music's really hard to get into. Like, make sure you think about that and stuff. It's never been like, no, don't do it. But like, definitely that, just like, are you sure? Like, this is, and like, I agree. It is like difficult. And like, it's like Kurt and I always talk about it. It's like it's really a long-term reward process. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you do good at work and you like hit your targets or whatever, you're like, yep, I've done my thing for the day. But when you're doing music, it's like you spend a couple of weeks like you spend a day writing a song and then a few weeks demoing it and then deciding if you like it enough to properly record it and then releasing it, and then maybe people will like it. So it's like a whole process. Yeah.
It's kind of brutal. You could put in so much effort, and so many bands do exactly that and get nowhere. Yeah. And it's can be really frustrating. Oh,
I feel it. I feel like from the start, it was just like, I just want to be, I just want to be more than what we are now and that sort of thing. And it was just a lot. It's been like, being in a band is like the best thing, but sometimes it can be like the most taxing thing. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you must have pretty good motivation and ambition levels to get past like shitty music teachers early on and stuff. Was there anybody in your life who, and maybe it was Kurt when you started playing together, but is there somebody who was like the opposite of that music teacher, who was like also really into music and sort of pushed you forward?
Yeah, I definitely had like some friends in high school that were like one of my friends, Jay, he was like always keen to like, learn covers and like play, do that sort of thing. Like he had the whole like shed set up, like, at his mum's place with like all of the gear, and everyone would just go and like play songs with him. Like that was really cool. And there were a couple of good teachers in high school that were like, really talented and like willing to help people who were like keen to learn. But yeah, definitely like Kurt has been a huge like influence on me as like a songwriter as well, because he we grew up together. Like we met when we were kids in like preschool.
Oh, cool.
So we've known each other forever. And then in high school, like he was doing sport for a few years. Like he kind of was going on to do that professionally. And we went to different schools. And then after, he sort of made the decision that he didn't want to do that, which would have been really hard for him at the time. He made that decision, and he's like, I don't know how, but like I want to be a musician. I want to be a musician. I want to be in a band. Then through like us both doing that and sort of not having a project, like we sort of reconnected in a way. And like, he was doing a different band, and like I was just starting Eliza The Delusionals, and eventually he ended up joining as like the bass player. And then we had there was a whole thing that happened with the band, and like our drummer left, and then he started playing guitar, and we kind of had always talked about writing songs together, but when we actually started doing it, we wrote You together. Like a lot of that was him. And like, it just, I don't know, it was just like breathing new life into something that needed like, cause he loves to play in like different tunings and stuff like that. And I feel like that's like really cool. It's really different. It's not something I would have thought to do on my own back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. He brings something to the songwriting that you wouldn't have done by yourself, which is a really great kind of writing partner to have.
Yeah, 100%. And like we both have like the same sort of influences, but I think we both look at writing music like kind of differently. Like, I don't know, our ideas come from different places, and I think that's cool.
That is, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned a couple of the influences with the Veronicas, or what are some other bands or artists you listened to kind of growing up that really motivated you?
Yeah. There were so many. Like, definitely Paramore for me have been massive inspiration.
So what are you gonna do when the world don't orbit around you?
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you probably could tell, but I just like have always idolized Hayley Williams in so many different ways, and they were just another band that I got to see a couple of times in concert, and I don't know, she's just awesome. She's just like so fucking cool, and like literally just who doesn't like her? You know what I mean? And her voice is just like incredible, and it's just, I don't know, she's just so good, and like my goal has always been to be able to sing like she can. So look, we'll get there one day.
You're on your way.
Thank you.
What about lately? What are some like more recent, newer artists that you're really vibing with?
I really love Kurt, and I actually really love Dayglow. I don't know if you know him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
He's awesome. Like. And he's actually been doing these like, because Kurt's like right into like production, like he does all of our demos and that sort of thing, and like that's sort of like a thing he's sort of working on. And Dayglow's been doing these like really sick like breakdowns of how he like records his songs and produces them on YouTube. I don't know if you've seen them, but like they're so worth the watch. Yeah, really, really cool.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
Oh, so good. Like the new singles. I can't wait to hear the album, but like I loved Fuzzy Brain. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Oh, so good. He's just got such a good voice. So we like are listening to him 24/7. We also like loved the Bieber Doobie record. Like that was awesome. Pale Waves, their new album was sick as well. I'm trying to think of some other like newer music. There's a really great band from Australia called Holy Holy. I don't know if you've heard them. Yeah.
I've heard like one or two tracks, yeah.
Yeah, oh, they're so good. Like really, really good.
I was lost in the light, true lovers in a different time, a different place.
The guitarist, he's a friend of ours, and he produced our songs Jackie and Half Empty Girl. And he's just like an absolute weapon of a guitar player, like just ridiculous. Like he's left-handed, and I remember we were in the studio and like I was in the console room and I was in the console room with him, and the other guys were in the like live room, and I was sort of playing guitar, and he's like, oh, I've got a couple ideas, and like I play right-handed, and then he just starts playing, like, you know how left-handed guitarists are like, they're kind of like freaks, and they just like can play right-handed guitars like upside down. And he just starts like absolutely shredding, and then it kind of clicked with everyone. They were like, wait, he's playing that upside down? Like, you know what I mean? It was just, they're just really good people, like amazing music. Like, yeah, they're going to be massive, massive worldwide one day. They're like so good. So if you haven't heard any of their songs, I recommend listening to the album Paint. It's like amazing. So yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm going to check out the full album for sure.
Yeah.
And also would plug, if you haven't heard it already, there's another podcast called Talk House where musicians like talk to each other. I don't know if you've ever listened, but there's an episode where Dayglow talks with Mac DeMarco.
Yes, I've heard that.
Okay, you've heard it. Okay. It's just like a really funny, kind of quirky conversation. really enjoyable for anybody
Yeah.
who likes those two artists.
Well, Kurt and I both love Mac and Dayglow, and I remember I think we've listened to it like 2 or 3 times, like just over
Yeah.
like before bed or whatever. He's definitely like we've definitely been listening to that, so that's funny you mention it. I also just thought of another band that's really amazing. You might know them now because they've been on like a lot of late night TV shows in America, but Middle Kids. I don't know if you've listened to them.
Everyone, I shout at every person, do not ignore me. Are you for me or against me? Hold yourself against me.
I don't really watch late night TV. I
Okay.
don't really know anybody who does anymore. At least younger generations. I mean, we may see clips on YouTube the next day.
Yeah,
but
that's kind of where I see it. And I also like follow them. I see their stuff all the time. So everything they post. But yeah, definitely listen to their music, Middle Kids. They just put out an album and it's like incredible. She's got such a cool, like unique voice, and it's just, yeah, it's awesome.
that is awesome. Half the reason I do this podcast is just to discover some new music for completely selfish reasons.
Yes.
Just for my own listening.
So good.
Yeah. Anyway, from kind of the beginning of your journey as Eliza and the Delusionals, or maybe even further back to when you started music, I'm kind of interested in hearing like how you feel like you've evolved as a person. Like, it's so weird to kind of like live through life as a musician. I feel like where you're sort of creating this art that is a representation of yourself at like each stage. And this is kind of like a vague, deep question, but where do you see yourself? How do you see yourself differently from like when you started the band?
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good question. I guess the main thing is that I listen back to, not that I ever put it on, but like we do still play a couple of songs in our set from our first EP, The Deeper End.
Yeah.
And I guess I just can't relate to any of that music anymore. And I kind of see that as like a positive because it's like I've changed and grown. And I don't think I could write songs like that anymore. So because I feel like music that you release is kind of like a bit of a snapshot of like what your life was at that time of like writing the song. Like, for example, we have a song that we still play in our set called 19 that I wrote when I was 19, and I'm turning 25 this year. So it's like, I'm glad I can't relate to it anymore, I guess. But I feel like because the music industry is so like, you're always meeting people and connecting with people and like working with different people, and you know, people come and go, and I guess like the relationships that you make and the ones that sort of like fall apart as well make you like learn as well. Like, I don't know, I like, it's not like you can't trust everyone, but when you're having people that you work with, like, and you've worked so hard for your songs and for your band and growing it and getting it to the place that it is today, it's like you kind of have to, like, if you're doing something with someone, you have to have a lot of trust in them, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like I guess from now and then, like I definitely, like between now and then, I definitely have my guard up a little bit more as a person, and not in a bad way, just in like a, you know, I've worked really hard and for a really long time on this, and so have the other guys. So we don't just let anyone come in and be a part of it, if that makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, you're not going to let somebody fuck it up.
Yeah.
You're slightly protective of it, which is totally normal, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, I don't know if that sounds weird, but yeah,
No.
I guess that's,
I get you.
Yeah, I guess that's one part of it. And yeah, just listening back to, or like playing those older songs, and just like, I just am singing them. Like, I'm not sitting there being like, oh yes, I'm feeling this. Like I'm feeling the performance because it's fun and I love playing music on stage, but I'm not like singing those lyrics from my heart anymore, if that makes sense. Whereas like all of the newer stuff we're doing, like it really is like, it's like my, you know, super excited. And even the recent EP, like Just Exist and stuff like that, like I still sing that with all I have because I still connect so strongly. And also like the impact that song's had on our career. You know, I just like still love that song so much, and maybe it might change in another 5 years, but at the moment I still love that one. So
That's cool. No, it kind of reminds me, I've always heard, I don't know what the direct quote is, but I know it's like Bono from U2. He says kind of differently that he like has to go back and feel every single song and every single moment that inspired the songs, or else he can't sing them at all.
I love that.
Do you ever feel that way? Do you feel like you don't necessarily even want to play the older songs as much just because you don't really feel it?
I feel like anything that we kick out of the set, we feel like it depends on how long we're playing for, I guess, but anything we sort of kick out of the set, we're like, is this going to support the newest sound that we're playing, or is this a song that everyone really loves and they want to hear? You know what I mean? It's like I feel like because of how many people connected with Just Exist, it's probably a song that will never get taken out of our set for all the years to come. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be like, you know, the song that's in the set. Like, but you know, songs like, you know, Alive or Deep End or like Jackie or something like that, which I still like. I still love the song Jackie like that. I wrote that one about my dog, so that's like always going to have a special place in my heart.
I was just afraid to lose you. All along I was scared to be alone. I held on, and I could tell myself that I'm alright. I could tell myself I'm feeling fine. I could tell myself in a little lie.
But yeah, it's more just like, is this going to like fit in the set? Because we're like, you know, working on so much new music at the moment, and I guess we look at it in that way at the moment, because now we have like, you know, more songs, and as more of our songs come out, we have to be a bit more selective of what we play. So
Do you have a favorite original song?
At the moment, I'm super proud of You. I think that song is like, I don't know, we think it's like fucking sick. Like we really love it. So
I agree.
Oh, thank you. Like, I don't know, I feel proud of us for kind of taking that step out of our comfort zone in a way and being like, no, we love this and this is what matters. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's like we're not like, I obviously want people to love it and I hope people do. But it's also like we think this is so good and we love this and we're super proud of it. So that's kind of why we wanted to have it as like the first single of this year. And like I said before, like Just Exist for me will always be a really special song, I think. So yeah, that it'd probably be one of those two.
Yeah, I think it's a smart thing you said about You. I think nobody is even going to have a chance of loving it unless you love it completely, you know? Like if you're trying to make something that you think someone else will like, but you're not liking it, I don't think it's going to land. So.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like you have to be proud of what you're doing and you have to have a good gut feeling about it. And I feel like that's kind of what we've always gone with. Like, you know, if, for example, like if we've had like some people on our team be like, this is so good, like this idea is really good, but Kurt and I and the other like Ruby and Tex have been like, oh, I don't know, like that usually is no, you know what I mean? Because it's like some idea, like we're really big on I guess don't knock it until you try it sort of concept. Like, you know, when we're doing creative stuff, it's like, okay, we'll try it and we'll see how it feels. And then if it's not right, we just won't do it. You know what I mean? Because you never know, like sometimes you do stuff that you wouldn't think of doing and it ends up being like amazing. But yeah, we're kind of like I like to trust my gut instinct. I think because when it comes to creative stuff, like Kurt and I do all the songwriting and things like that. So between the two of us, I think Kurt's got a really good like gut instinct on songs as well, and on visuals and things like that. And like I feel like we annoy our like label and management team so much sometimes because they'll be like, okay, this is what, like, I've made this to like, you know, for this or whatever. And we're always like, that's not quite not quite right. Let us have a try and like see if we can, you know what I mean? Like we'd rather like spend the extra time, or I don't know. I guess we're big like on do it yourself in a way as well. So yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a little bit generational. I mean, at least I can make an assumption. Just like kind of the younger generations. I'm 25 now, too. I'm about your age. You know, so many musicians kind of our age have now grown up with the internet and like making our own demos on our computers and doing the artwork for ourselves before you even have a team for many people. So it makes sense that you still want to kind of hold on to that control of the artistic style as well.
Oh, I completely agree. And like visuals are so important for us. And I feel like,
oh yeah.
You know, I don't know if this is how everyone's brain works, but like, I guess I have a very visual like mind. So, I can't watch a lot of like horror movies and stuff because a lot of it like really sticks with me visually and like it like fucks me up a little bit. So I can't do that. But like, I guess like if I'm like, we're doing a demo and the song's done and like, I just kind of shut my eyes and like, okay, this is what I think the artwork would be. And this is how I sort of am hearing this like visually, if that makes sense. And like kind of start with that. So I feel like some musicians might not do that. I don't know. Like they might be like, I have no idea where to start with artwork and they get someone else to sort of do it. But I feel like we're a bit of a pain to work with in that sense because we always have like such a clear idea and vision of what we want. So having someone else, but neither of us are like graphic designers per se. So it's like when we have someone working with us, it's like, we're just going to have to ask you to do like 50 revisions until it's perfect. Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Well, you know, I guess it all depends on the person. Like you said, it could be good or bad. And even from somebody working with you, from their perspective, that could be good or bad. If they're the opposite and they want to just do something their way, then that's going to be annoying. But a lot of times maybe they're looking for more input and inspiration, and maybe you're offering something that they really enjoy. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I think like most, I feel like, cause I like, as like a bit of a side thing, I do like art. I've always done art myself and I've been working.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I don't think I'm amazing at it, but I like doing it. So,
that's all that matters.
Yeah. But I've been doing some work for like one of, my friends who's like bringing out some new music. Like I've been doing her like, single artwork and stuff like that. And I loved working with her because she's so like particular on how she wants it to look. And like she loves my art style. So anything I am going to draw is like cool. But like I always send her like a rough thing and she's like, can you make it more like this shade and that? And I'm like, this is perfect because it's your thing. Like I fully get it because I do it myself in the band. You know what I mean? Like this is your thing. You have a vision for it. Tell me how I can make it sick, make it look how you want it to look. So yeah, like I personally, I get it. And like, I wouldn't be annoyed if someone was asking me to like 60 different revisions of like, maybe not that many, but you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Not 60, but yeah, I get you. What is your friend's name? Give her a shout out.
Oh, Yen Strange.
Strange.
Yeah. She has, I think, I don't know when it's coming out. I don't want to spoil anything for her, but yeah, she's awesome. So yeah.
Okay. We'll keep an eye out.
Yeah, definitely.
I do like to also ask a flip side of a previous question. I asked you if you had a favorite of your own songs. I also like to hear if you have a least favorite. And I'm not asking you to talk shit on your own music, but a lot of times maybe somebody has a song that just didn't quite become what they wanted to, and maybe it just frustrated them a lot when they were putting it together. Do you have a song like that?
I actually do. And it's kind of funny because like I don't hate the song, but
Yeah.
it's more about, so the song is Sentimental that we put out last year.
Yeah.
And like the writing process of that song was like sick because we were in LA, we were writing with Sarah Aarons and John Hill. Sarah's like a fellow Australian, I guess you could say. But yeah, she's like an incredible songwriter. John Hill's like an amazing writer and producer. So yeah, we were lucky enough to get a writing session with them and we wrote the song and we were like, this is so good. But then obviously like COVID happened and we came home and, we were like not in the best mind space. None of us were. So it was,
understandably.
And then like COVID was obviously still a thing here. And then the label were like, well, I guess like, let's work towards putting out a song. And then we were like, well, this one's probably the most finished. So like, let's do that. And we had like a producer come from Sydney and we kind of did like this Airbnb thing. And it was like set up a studio, which was cool. But I think how everyone was feeling was just like, and like,
yeah,
I don't know. It was messy. We didn't get time to like prepare. We didn't get time to rehearse the song. We didn't get time to do pre-production. It was kind of just like, bang, like do the song now and like, let's just get it done. And like, I don't think the song's bad. Like I really do like the song as itself and I like the production on it, but it's just like everything that was attached with that. And then like doing the music video, like there was sort of it was over a time where like Kurt wasn't doing too well and the music video was like, the guys that did it were awesome. Like they're a sick team, MTMM from Brisbane, like they're awesome. But it was just like, it was just hard. And like, I think that was kind of taking over the excitement of a new song. And then we had a thing with the music video where, our label had said like, oh, this person would be a really good choice. And she ended up just completely flopping and like not replying to us. And like, it was a whole thing. And she sort of like stuffed up our whole plan, like schedule for the music video. Cause like you guys had the election coming out and we had like the US very much in mind when we were doing the release plan. And we were like, okay, we'll do it on this day in October. So it's not too close to the election and stuff like that. But thanks to this girl, it just like pushed it back by like a month. So it was just like a whole pile of things. Like we laugh about it now, but it just at the time, it was just like, what is even like going on? And like, we hadn't adjusted to like this whole COVID thing and still getting, like, I don't even want to say getting over because we're not even over it, but getting through the fact that like we weren't going to be doing all of those like things we were planning to do in the US, like all the things we were like dreaming of doing and we finally had the chance to do it. So it was just like overall a really shit time. And like I said, I love the song. I loved the writing process. Like Kurt and I are really proud of all of that, but it's just everything that was like attached to that moment of time and everything that was attached to 2020 after like April was just, you know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, that makes too much sense. And I'm glad you kind of talked about it a little bit because so many people I think can relate, not directly to, necessarily making music or doing a music video and a release, but just like the way all those negative circumstances just conglomerated all at one time and expectations were lost and plans were lost. And it makes a lot of sense that you feel that way towards that song, I think, because of, just the circumstances of your life and the situation of the world.
Yeah, no, 100%.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. You got it out. We're hopefully looking better now for the most part.
I hope so.
Things are slowly, I think, getting better as I think you can say.
Yeah, I
not
think
completely,
so.
But
I mean, I think like you guys are doing really well with like your vaccination rollout and stuff like that, which is like so good to see all of the festivals starting to like be announced and stuff. But I guess it's just hard because our country is like, we were like really good at containing the virus.
Yeah.
But like, so I don't know what the hell's going on, but like no one is able to get they have like no vaccines here. So like us as a band also being in like the non-vulnerable age bracket, we're kind of just sitting here like being like, well, if we don't get a vaccine, like we probably can't go overseas without like the risk of not being able to come home safely or like without the quarantine. And it's just a whole thing. So we're like, I feel like once that hurdle is taken care of, then we'll feel a little bit more optimistic. But like we're super lucky here, you know, and we're heading out on tour in June and July around Australia, which is like exciting because we haven't done that for ages. But I don't know. I feel like we just can't wait to get back and like finish what we started in America. And like we love America. We loved all of the people over there that we got to meet. And, you know, we still get messages from people being like, you know, we had tickets to see you in like Pittsburgh or New York or whatever, like any of those places that we didn't end up getting to go to that we had planned. You know what I mean? So yeah. Well, like we're planning to like get that back whenever we can, but
totally.
It's kind of out of our hands in a way.
We'll be here. We'll be here when you're ready, when you can come.
Yeah, I hope so.
I'll be looking out for Seattle dates. That's
yes.
where I'm at.
Oh, we can't wait.
But that's exciting. You're going to be able to play some shows in Australia. And what are you kind of most looking forward to with live shows?
I can't wait to like have crowds back. Like something I never thought I'd say. Like, yeah, I was just like the type of person to like go to a show and be like, everyone needs to take one step away from me. Like, you know what I mean? But I'm like looking forward to that. I think that's going to be like really good. And just that sort of energy of people like all having a good time. And like I've been to a couple of shows in the last like 2 months that have been like the first like shows I've been back to since COVID. And it's just been like, I don't know, the energy of people just being like able to see their favorite band and sing the songs at the top of their lungs with their friends again. It's just, I don't know, it's really special. So I'm like looking forward to that. And I'm also looking forward to traveling because I literally love traveling so much. And I have been just, as we all have, just going crazy at home. Yeah, exactly. So I'm like we're heading to Melbourne this week actually for like a little corporate thing. And oh my God, I'm just like, I cannot wait. It's only for one night, but like I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited. You know what I mean? Just to like get out of where we live.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you do to prepare for live performances?
Well,
anything?
Like we obviously like rehearse and things like that. And like actually after this podcast, Ruby and Tex are coming down. They live about 2 hours away from Kurt and I's studio. So they're like coming down and we're just doing some like rehearsals. And then because we don't have a drummer, we get like a session drummer in. So we usually like rehearse with like a track here at our studio. And then we get like a session drummer at another rehearsal space. And we do that sort of thing and put the set together and all of that. So it's kind of funny though, because we did a couple of weeks ago, we did our first shows over like literally our last show was in San Diego up until like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So that was
I'm from Southern California originally, Orange County.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Spent a lot of time in San Diego.
Yeah. Well, I think we played in Santa Ana. That's close by, right?
That is 10 minutes away from where I grew up.
Yeah. The Observatory.
Yeah. One of my favorite venues.
So awesome. That was the first show we did actually in America. So,
cool.
That venue was like, it was so funny because we, like I said, we don't have a drummer. So, because of like all the visa stuff and everything, it was so last minute. We had to like miss the first show that we had booked in Ventura. And then we got off like a 15-hour flight, landed in LA, and we had met our American drummer once over Zoom. We got into the car with him and just lived with him for 2 months in the bus. Wow. Like he's such a good dude. Like we got on really well, but it was just so funny. That's like good. We got home, we were like, we just like met this guy once, said, here's the songs, and just like lived with him in a bus for like 2 months. Yeah. So
that is such a crazy experience.
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah, like that first day in Santa Ana was like a 38-hour day for us or something because of the time difference. And and everything like that. And I'm such an anxious flyer. So like sleeping on planes is just not a thing for me. So
Yeah.
I just remember going to bed that night and just being like, oh my God, what even is this? But yeah, that venue was like so sick. And then, yeah, we finished in San Diego, and then we were having the 2 weeks in LA before we went to South by Southwest to do some, like, Kurt and I were doing the writing sessions, and that's when we did like Sentimental and a couple of other songs. And like, yeah, it was just like, and then, yeah, we had to come home, obviously. And then, yeah, a couple of weeks ago we did like a Gold Coast and Brisbane show. And it was weird because we hadn't really rehearsed. Like, we had done stuff together, like we've been recording and things like that, but we hadn't like had a rehearsal with a drummer in forever. And then the four of us kind of got together and we're like, oh, we'll just like, you know, shake the rust off. And we were like really stoked. Like, we played through everything like perfectly. Like, it was like second nature in a way. And I was just like, oh, look, I'm really proud of us, guys. Look at us. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no one forgot how to play the songs or anything. So it was good.
Very good. I'm proud of you too. Good job.
Thank you.
Well, we've been talking for a while. I want to make sure I have this main question I always ask. It can be deep. It can be just fun and silly. If you want it to be, I'll let you kind of answer it however you want. But I'm extremely interested in just, you know, people's motivations when it comes to making music and, you know, kind of like the things that drive them to keep going. So the question is simple, but it's, why do you make music?
Yeah, I think it's a really good question. I think it's because I know that the impact that songs have had on me, that like I've connected with, has just been like life changing, life altering, you know what I mean? And my dream has always been to be able to write a song that people can feel the way, or come to a show and feel like nothing else matters except for like what's happening right now. It's like you're sort of in like the world of Eliza the Delusionals, and like all of that like shit stuff that might be happening in your life doesn't matter for that hour. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I've always felt at concerts, and like that's how I felt at my first concert, and like that's how I've always felt about music, and like just being able to like relate so strongly to, you know, someone might not even be singing about the same experience that you had, like, you know what I mean, but it's like you just connect to it that way. Like I think that's why I've always done it. And you know, it's also like just the best way of like, I don't know, it's almost like therapy. It's like it's almost like talking to someone, but it's like the someone is like your notebook, and then you're writing it all out, and then like heaps of people are going to listen to it and be like, yeah, I feel that too, so you're not alone. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah.
I think that's a great answer.
Thank you.
I agree completely. I feel the same way about music, and kind of when I enjoy music the most, whether it's playing it or listening, it does create that kind of sort of the same thing that good meditation does, of just keeping you fully like in the moment, where you're not worried, you're not anxious, you're not stressed, you're just kind of being, you know, you're kind of experiencing the moment through the music. And
yeah, I agree. And I think Kevin Parker, like Tame Impala, said something about it once, about songwriting, of like, you know, if you're working on a song, you're like obviously in a mood, like in that feeling, and sometimes you can't pick that song up again until you're feeling that same way. And I like completely agreed with that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so hard to like, I feel like if you're really in the mood, in the zone, like it takes us probably like 10 minutes to get like a pretty good idea down of like how it's going to, the song is like the main sort of melodies and stuff like that. Because like you're just feeling it, but then sometimes you want to pick up and keep working on it, and you're like, nothing's coming out. I just can't. It's probably because I'm in a completely different mood today. Maybe later on I'll feel sad enough to keep writing it or something like that. You know what I mean?
Totally. Have you experienced any songs where you were working on it and it just was taking forever because of that?
Oh, actually, yes. So there's a song that we've recorded. It's going to come out sometime. I don't know when. You'll probably hear it in the next 12 months.
Okay.
I think Kurt and
I'll
I.
hold you to that.
Yes, yeah. I think Kurt and I spent like literally 2 years writing it because, and it changed so many times, and like it, like we love how it's turned out, and like, you know, like we're happy that it ended up actually getting recorded because, you know, some other songs that we were working on didn't end up getting recorded, but that one just kind of like, I don't know, it like there was a reason why we stuck it out for so long, but it's like Kurt would pick it up and I'd be like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, what if we change it this way? And then he'd be like, oh, I don't know, I kind of liked it the way it was before. And then we'd sort of like have a compromise, and it's ended up being really cool in our eyes. But I think if he was here, he would also agree that that song's like, you know, that has been the most like grueling one, but definitely worth all of the time we spent on it. So yeah.
That's cool. I'm looking forward to hearing that. Usually the circumstances create something really unique and interesting. So
yeah, I mean, I like to think so. I think it's a cool song. I think people are gonna like it. I hope. Anyway, I like it, so you know.
Well, that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Well, I say we end with a few funny, silly, kind of random questions.
Sure,
if
sounds
you're
good.
Down.
Always.
What do you enjoy doing besides music? You mentioned art.
Yeah, I love doing art. Like drawing. I have like an iPad with the pen, and that's like literally the best thing ever. One day I want to learn how to do like tattoo art, like tattooing.
Ooh.
So I don't know, like that's like a long time venture for me, I guess. So we'll see where that ends. I've told some people and they're like, yes, as soon as you get a gun, you can like do me. And I'm like, no, like that's, yeah, I don't even know. Like we'll see, but it's just something I've always really loved. I love tattoo artistry. Like I'm not, you know, it would just be like basic stuff, but I don't know. That's like something I would enjoy doing, I think, one day, eventually.
Yeah. I would guess you have a tattoo or two.
Yeah, I think I've got like 10 or so, like little ones.
Oh, nice, yeah.
I definitely want more, but I'm also a broke ass bitch, so yeah. They're not cheap.
That's cool though. You know what? I hope you pick up the gun and make it happen.
Thank you. I will one of these days.
Next question, do you have any pets?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to talk about the dogs that are at Kurt's family home. Yeah, so Kurt has these two dogs that live at his mum's place. His family lives like really close to where we live now. Like we literally have grown up like 3 streets apart our whole lives. So we always go there. And there's 2 dogs that live there, Buddy and Luna, and they're just like the sweetest little, like one's a Pekingese sort of type dog, and the other one, Luna's like a pug, poodle, and chihuahua mix, and like literally just the cutest, sweetest, like most gorgeous dogs ever. They're just amazing. And we have a cat named Comet as well, and she just kind of does her own thing. And then here where we live, we've got 3 dogs. One is like an elderly senior dog. His name's Paddy, which is like an Australian cattle dog, and Rosie, who's also an Australian cattle dog, and Abby, who's a chihuahua. So we love dogs. And I also have, I don't know if you know, I have like an Australian native bird, a galah. They're like pink and grey. It's like a parrot. Yeah. So yeah, I've had, cool, she's been like in my family before I was born. Like she's like OG. So
wow.
Parrots like live forever. So yeah. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I love dogs. I love cats. I love all animals. So, you know, I'm all for it.
Me too.
Yeah.
I have one cat at the moment. We just got her. She's about 6 months Siamese kitten.
Oh my God. Sounds amazing.
Named Kalua.
So cute. Is she cuddly?
She likes to attack and bite you while you cuddle with her. So in a way, she likes to cuddle with her teeth right now. She's still very young and ferocious and thinks she's a lion. So she is warming up to pets and cuddling, but
so
she still
cute.
just loves playing and fighting so much that it's hard for her not to.
Yeah, I feel that. It was like when Rosie, our cattle dog, was a puppy, like, because cattle dogs are like supposed to round up cattle and sheep and stuff like that. But we
Bite
obviously
ankles,
don't.
yeah.
We don't live on a farm. And she like literally just used to, her teeth, like puppy teeth, when she was like teething, she just used to chew everything. Like the amount of pants and shirts that have been ruined with holes because of, so I feel you.
I feel you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one. If you have your phone within reach and you could take a second, I like to know what the last song you saved on Spotify was.
The latest song that I've listened to on here is Golden by Harry Styles because I was showing.
Oh, there you go.
I was showing Kurt because I heard it recently. Like I'm a bit late to the Fine Line party, but like
I was too.
Yeah, it's so amazing. I was like, you have to hear this song. It's so, so good.
You're so golden. You're so golden. I'm out of my head and I know that you're scared because hearts get broken.
Yeah, I was showing him that. So that's the last thing that's on my Spotify.
That's a good one. I like it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, that's pretty much all I got for you. Do you have anything you want to add or say before we get going?
I think that's it. I think, I had a really fun time talking about all that stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, so thank you. It's like really exciting when we get to do a podcast that's like, I don't know, like really interesting, and you have to like really, so many interviews we do that are just like the same thing over, you know what I mean? So thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. I'm glad I was able to make it interesting and different. I, researched you guys and heard a few interviews you had done, and, I try to make an effort not to be exactly the same. So
well, I appreciate
good that
it.
You thought that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. And I always ask, and it's not mandatory, but if you have or know somebody who would be a good future guest for me to interview that you could recommend, that would be super nice.
Absolutely. You need to meet the guys in the band Stumps. They're from Sydney. They just put out an album. They're like friends of ours. We've been friends with them for ages now, and they're also label mates, and they just put out such a sick like early 2000s. If you like like Block Party and that sort of thing. Like it's just, really, really good.
Awesome. No, I will definitely check them out, and hopefully we can connect and get them on the show soon.
I hope so. That'd be so exciting.
Yeah, I like to, I kind of do that. I don't always get to everyone because I'm just kind of one person doing this, and it creates this huge web of recommendations, but it is nice for me to ask and people to recommend, so it's not just like my taste only or what I think I'm listening to. It's another way for me to find new things and talk to people I would not have normally talked to.
Yeah, that's so good. I think you'd have a really interesting and cool conversation with those guys. So, yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, do you want to quickly shout out kind of your social media handles and like where people can follow you?
Yeah, okay. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, like Spotify, all the usuals. Eliza and the Delusionals. It's like the longest and stupidest name ever. So sorry.
Those are the best names.
But thank you. But yeah, so if you remember it, type it in and you'll find us.
Yeah, that's a good one. Like longer or more unique names are just great because you can't not find it if you just type it in. If you just Google it, you're guaranteed to connect with one of their socials or your Spotify page.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you like it. Like I came up with it when I was like 17, and how many things do you still like that you make when you're like 17? So, that
kind of, it'll go through phases. I think all band names do, where it's like you sort of love it, then you sort of hate it for a while, but then you sort of love it because you hate it or because you're over it. And it's just like a thing that you really can't change. And so you just constantly sort of have a mental feud with it.
Oh, I know. Like whenever it comes to doing new merch designs, I'm just like banging my head against the computer because like how the F am I going to fit the whole band name on a t-shirt? It's a constant struggle.
The struggle is real.
Yeah.
Well, keep making cool shit. Keep making good music. I'm excited to hear the new tracks, and I was really pleased with you, and everybody should go listen to that. We always end with a high five. From the other side of the world, we'll count 3, 2, 1 and do a virtual high five.
Okay, sounds good.
Alrighty. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, I didn't actually clap. I just I high-fived the air.
That works too.
So,
no, that's good. That's probably the best thing that's ever happened.
Okay, amazing. I just like totally high-fived the air like towards my computer screen. So
that's perfect. I mean, the idea of doing a high five virtually is just silly.
Look,
so
I imagined it.
The sillier the result, the better.
Well, that's probably as silly as it's going to get. So
perfect.
Thank you for your support for our music as well. We really appreciate it. And we can't wait to come to Seattle as well. It's on our bucket list.
We've been here before, lying on the floor, like I said it is with you, I'm never bored. But it's not at all like I said it is. You've been sentimental to me, though I know, baby, not right now. You'll be showing up in a minute. I guess we'll have to figure it out. 'Cause it's blue right now, but we'll do it again. Yeah, you love me now. Will you say that when something is missing? And we're fading now, but we'll do it again. Knocking at your door. Baby, I adore you. I'm whatever it is, always looking for the things you can't afford, like your cigarettes. You've been sentimental to me, though I know, baby, not right now. And you'll be showing up in a minute. I guess we'll have to figure it out. 'Cause it's blue right now, but we'll do it again. Yeah, you love me now. Will you say that when something is missing? And we're fading now, but we'll do it again. Finding it hard, 'cause you're way too different now. Finding it hard, that everything's changing around me, I'm falling apart. 'Cause it's blue right now, but we'll do it again. Yeah, you love me now. Will you say that when something is missing? And we're fading now, but we'll do it
Hi, friends. Seekers of new sounds, music enthusiasts. Thanks for listening to this podcast and this episode. I know there are a whole bunch of pods out there for you to listen to, and I really appreciate you giving this one a shot. If you enjoyed the episode, please check out another episode and maybe discover some more new music that you've never heard of before. Maybe share the show with a friend and they might think you're really cool for finding cool new music. Don't forget to subscribe or give us a follow on whatever platform you're listening to this on. Thanks again to Eliza for coming on the show. Follow Eliza and the Delusionals on Spotify, Instagram, any other social media site you like to spend your time on. Thanks, as always, to the Judd Zingle Project, Aiden Danzy, for our theme music and the backing tracks. Follow us on Instagram at Redefining Records to keep up with this show and other cool content. New episodes are coming out every other week in alternation with our sister podcast, Bands, Beers, and Buzzwords with John Pagliasotti. Shoot us a DM on Instagram as well, or email redefiningrecords@gmail.com if you have any comments, suggestions. Maybe you want to tell us who or what you'd like to hear in future episodes. That would be great. Please reach out. Thank you so much for listening and have a great one.
This has been a Redefining Records production.